In the last section, we were able to configure our own local copy of Web3 by using the injected copy provided by MetaMask. I'm inside my app component right now, and I am going to clean up that console log that we left behind, because I personally just don't like leaving dangling console logs. In this video, we're going to continue by taking the lottery contract that we had already put together and somehow getting it to work with our React application. So this is where the really important knowledge comes in. This is going to be where we figure out how to take some data from the Ethereum blockchain and make it available to our actual React project. In order to do this, we're going to go back to the previous project we worked on, like the lottery stuff with all the tests and all the deploy scripts and all that stuff. And we're going to work with that a little bit and then access that stuff from our React project. Let's first start off by taking a look at a diagram that's going to help you get a good idea of exactly what's going to happen. I want you to first recall that the lottery project that we just finished up with all those tests and whatnot had two additional scripts set up inside of it. It had a compile script and it had a deploy script. The compile script took our lottery source code, like the Solidity source code, it compiled it, and that generated both an ABI, which we also refer to as the interface, and it also created the contract bytecode, which is used to deploy our contract to the actual network. That interface, or that contract ABI, can be thought of as our interface layer or our communication layer or the translation layer from the blockchain world to the JavaScript world. So very shortly, we're going to go and take that ABI and we're going to feed it into our Web3 instance. This is going to create a local copy of the contract, and it's going to essentially tell our Web3 instance, hey, here is a contract and here's how it behaves. Here are the different functions. Here's what they require as inputs, and here's what they provide as outputs. That's going to create a local copy of the contract. We're then going to deploy our contract, and we're going to then tell Web3 what address the contract was deployed at. So remember, anytime we deploy a contract to the blockchain, the contract always gets a distinct address assigned to it. So we need to not only instruct Web3 about how the contract can be interacted with through the interface, but we also have to tell Web3 about where the contract lives on the blockchain. So the end result is that Web3 will be able to communicate with our deployed lottery instance that exists on Rinkeby, and we can call different methods, different functions on it, whatever we want to do. So that's the general idea. Clearly, the first thing that we need here is to not only get access to our contract interface, but we also need to deploy our lottery contract and get our address from it. So with that in mind, let's flip on over to our terminal and our code editor, and we're going to find those two pieces of information. All right, I'm going to change back over to my code editor for the lottery contract. So here it is on the screen. So notice I'm now back inside of the original lottery project that you and I were working on a handful of videos ago. Here's the test file. We don't really care about the tests anymore. Here's the contract source code. Again, we don't really care about this anymore. What we really care about is the deployment script and the compile script. So we're going to deploy this contract, and we also want to make sure we get a copy of the contract ABI. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and find where we created and deployed the contract. So here it is right here. So I definitely want to make sure that after we deploy the contract, we then console log out the address that the contract was deployed to. So notice right here, after we do the deployment, we console logged out where it got deployed to. Do make sure that you have this console log here, because we do need to get that address. The other thing that we need to get access to is the contract interface, which you will recall is available in this file as the variable interface. So to get access to that thing, I'm just going to add on another console log, and I'll console log out the interface. So now we can run our deployment script, and we'll get a console log in the terminal of our interface, and we'll also get a console log of our contract address. So let's now flip on over to our terminal. We're going to run this deployment script, and then we're going to take those two pieces of information and add them to our React project. All right, so I'm going to go back over to my terminal. I'm going to go back to my lottery directory. Oops, lottery, there we go. And then inside of here, I'm going to run the npm script that we had put together you will recall inside of our package.json file, oh no, we never put a script together for that one, my mistake. So to deploy our project, we can run simply node deploy.js, like so. So this will compile our script and then attempt to deploy it out to the Rinkeby test network. Now, if you remember, this takes like about a minute or two, so we'll pause the video right here, and we'll come back in a second, and we'll take the information that gets console logged and add it to our React project. All right, so I'll see you in just a minute.